If you hate the story of your life so far, here's the truth. You're not too late to write a completely different ending. You might not have the perfect timeline, but you still have time to rewrite everything. I have studied the lives of over 25,000 men and women, individuals who achieved prosperity and autonomy, and those who encountered only struggle and setback. I can affirm this truth with absolute certainty. Many people do not even reach their true momentum, the one that leads to genuine accomplishment and authority, until they are well beyond the age of 40 or 50. If you are listening to my voice right now and you feel behind, if you feel you have wasted your younger years, or if you feel the best times are already gone, you are simply in the preparation phase. You have gathered the instruction of discomfort and regret, and now you possess the core materials for a fresh start. You might not have the perfect timeline, but you still have time to rewrite everything. But let us be firm and forthright. You cannot rewrite your story with a vague wish or a timid hope. The only thing that distinguishes the men who advance later in life from those who simply continue to decline is the courage to issue a command. You must stop wishing for a better existence and start demanding it. This video will furnish you with the exact blueprint for that command, using the precise principles I imparted to Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and millions of others who ascended from obscurity. Pay close attention, for your future commands your immediate focus. The editorial decision. Burning the scripts of the past. Your life narrative is undesirable because you have permitted indecision to dictate the plot. Every person who has felt the sharp sting of regret knows what I refer to. You have permitted indecision to stand at the helm, shifting you between one concept and the next, between one affiliation and the next, between one vocation and the next. You never committed, so life never rewarded you. Indecision is the sovereign of postponement, the purloiner of time, and the author of every unremarkable life narrative. When you reflect and feel that you have spent so much time poorly, you are not observing a lack of opportunity. You are observing the consequence of postponement. To author a new conclusion, you must make a decision so final, so complete, that it prevents any possibility of reverting to your former existence. Until you do this, you will always be a passenger in your own life. I observed this decisive principle at work in the life of Edwin C. Barnes, one of the most remarkable individuals I ever studied. He was a man who felt the pressure of time and the necessity of initiating anew. When he resolved to become the business associate of Thomas A. Edison, he did not say, "I will try to induce Edison to give me a position." That is the parlance of the attendant, the cautious person, the wanderer. No, Barnes said, "I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to go into business with him." Barnes traveled on a freight car with little capital and no arrangement. He arrived appearing like a vagrant, but he communicated with the certainty of a sovereign. He rejected any placement other than the one he had chosen. His decision was so distinct that it left him no exit, no secondary option, no ease. He had to succeed or be lost. That is the core of true desire. It is the white-hot intensity of a person who has removed their retreat options. If you have spent your 20s, 30s, or 40s wandering, it is because you have always kept an alternative strategy stored away. This safeguard, which you tell yourself is foresight, is actually the single source of your failure. It is the waiver you grant yourself to withdraw the moment opposition appears, and opposition always appears. The time you have spent poorly is a debt you owe to your future self. You can only satisfy it through immediate and unwavering decisions. You must break the pattern of postponement now. The 3 commands of decisive action. The first vital move to rewriting your story is an act of intellectual bravery. Remove your retreat options. Eliminate the alternative strategy. You must scrutinize your alternative strategy, the safeguard, the secondary position, the ease, or the detrimental affiliation that allows you to remain in your current miserable narrative. Identify the source of withdrawal that keeps your desire mild. If you are serious about altering your life, you cannot hedge your bets. The moment the possibility of withdrawal is gone, your desire instantly rises to the level of burning desire, and your mind will begin to perform astonishing feats on its behalf. End that source of withdrawal. Decide now that failing is not an option, because withdrawal has been rendered impossible. The moment Caesar crossed the Rubicon, his path was fixed. You must do the same. The 60-second rule. Master the minor. Andrew Carnegie instructed me that a person who cannot arrive at a decision promptly once they possess the necessary details cannot be relied upon. When the details are in hand, the swiftness of your decision is paramount. The successful individuals I studied made decisions rapidly and altered them slowly, if at all. The person who falls short makes decisions slowly and alters them rapidly and frequently. Practice making small, insignificant decisions in under 60 seconds. The pattern of postponement is simply a pattern of indecision. Start with the minor selections: where to dine, what to wear, which path to take. Break the mental resistance of postponement immediately. By mastering small decisions, you prepare your mind to master the life-altering ones. This is a mental exercise for the commander. Close the door. The power of silence. Adopt the pattern of keeping your own counsel. The human tendency is to seek confirmation for a new, frightening decision by informing the world about it. But when you announce a major strategy to others, especially those who are content with mediocrity, you invite their uncertainty, their anxieties, and their restrictive viewpoints into your mind. This is often ruinous. Tell the world what you intend to do, but first demonstrate it. The great builders of industry did not deliberate their plans. They carried them out. Announce your decision only to those who are essential to its execution, or better yet, announce it only to the person in the mirror. You have postponed long enough. The first line of your new story must be a firm, final, irrevocable decision to change. The new script: definite chief aim. 98 out of every 100 people are wanderers who never author a new story because they never define what the story is concerning. They are the minor characters, the unnoted faces in the multitude who are moved by every breeze of change, every apprehension, and every external demand. They possess a vague hope for greater income, or better wellness, or a happier household, but they never secure the precise thing they demand from existence. You cannot rewrite your life with a vague wish. You require a definite chief aim. This is the starting position of all prosperity, all great accomplishment, and all personal autonomy. If you feel like a jack of all trades, or if you have too many concepts and are always moving aimlessly, it is not because you lack aptitude. It is because you lack distinctness of purpose. Your greatest vitality is scattered across 100 feeble currents instead of being directed into one relentless surge. The subconscious mind, which is the engine of all your outcomes, cannot operate with a vague instruction. You must provide it with a clear, precise blueprint. Consider the example of Dr. Frank W. Gonzalez. He needed $1 million to establish a great educational establishment. For 2 years he contemplated the funds. He wished for them. He hoped for them. Nothing occurred. It was only when he composed and announced the address, "What I would do if I had $1 million," and declared that he would receive the funds within a week, that the universe responded. He transitioned from vague hope to a definite chief aim. He did not merely wish for funds. He defined a precise purpose, a specific service, a concrete plan, and a time restriction. That distinctness energized his mind and drew the resources necessary for his accomplishment. The moment you define your definite chief aim, you activate two powerful principles. First, organized planning becomes feasible, for you now have an objective to direct your plans toward. Second, your imagination is activated, transitioning from the synthetic, rearranging existing concepts, to the creative, generating entirely new approaches. A distinct aim provides your mind with a filter. You cease observing 100 diversions and start observing only the one path that leads to your purpose. Time, which you previously spent poorly, now gains significance because every minute is gauged against your aim. You must stop relating the story of what you have avoided and start writing the script of what you will attain. This necessitates accuracy. The formula for your definite chief aim. Write the statement. The contract. You must write out a clear, concise statement of your definite chief aim. It must address 3 precise inquiries. What specifically do you intend to acquire or achieve? For example, a specific amount of funds, a position of authority, a piece of property. When will you acquire it? Set a firm, unmoving date. What will you contribute in exchange for what you command? Nothing results from nothing. You must define the service, the effort, or the aptitude you are prepared to deliver. This written statement is not a desire list. It is a contract with yourself and with the universal principles of accomplishment. It must be so clear that a child could grasp it, and so precise that your subconscious mind can commence its work immediately. The QQS formula, your new service. In the new script of your life, you are defining yourself by the service you deliver. The world rewards those who provide value. Therefore, in defining your aim, you must define the quality of service using the QQS formula, the quality of service you will deliver, the standard of excellence you will uphold, the quantity of service, the measure of effort you will invest a remarkable volume of labor, always aiming to deliver far more than you are compensated for or anticipated to provide. This is the secret to attracting opportunity, the spirit in which you will render it, the demeanor of agreement, collaboration, and satisfaction you will maintain while working with others. Your definite chief aim must be connected to a service you deliver. By concentrating on providing excellent service, the material recompense you seek will follow as a natural and unavoidable consequence. The great fortunes of Carnegie and Ford were not found. They were created by applying this formula to steel and vehicles. Post the script, the daily command. The act of writing your aim is only the commencement. You must then take your written statement and place it where you will observe it every morning and every evening. Read this statement aloud twice daily, once immediately upon rising and once just before resting. Read it with sentiment and conviction. By doing this, you impress this distinct command upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind acts upon all thoughts and desires that are mixed with feeling and conveyed to it. It does not dispute your aim. It simply accepts and begins to carry out the plan. Make this reading a routine. This is the daily command that separates the person who wanders from the person who directs. The hidden asset, specialized knowledge. Your definite chief aim must be grounded not in generalizations, but in specialized knowledge. The world compensates individuals not for what they know generally, but for what they do with that distinct knowledge. General instruction, the kind that moves from topic to topic without focus, is almost unhelpful in the pursuit of great riches. The person who starts later cannot afford to spend years acquiring generalized knowledge that others possess in abundance. Your benefit resides in identifying the precise, specialized aptitude that the market most urgently requires and becoming the absolute master of it. If you feel behind, it is because you have mistakenly valued broad knowledge over deep, specialized skill. The prosperity of the world is not distributed to the person who knows a little about everything, but to the one who knows everything about one highly valuable thing. I observed Thomas A. Edison, a man of limited formal schooling, become one of the most prosperous individuals in the world because he understood this principle. He did not spend his time becoming a jack of all trades. He applied his mind and his resources to the specific challenges of illumination and audio. His knowledge was organized and directed to a definite chief aim, the strategy for rapid mastery. Identify your gap. The knowledge audit list, the specialized knowledge that is an absolute requirement for the achievement of your definite chief aim. Be uncompromising in this assessment. Is it a new technique, a specific language, a financial modeling aptitude, or an understanding of human behavior? Where is your current knowledge inadequate? Crucially, what is the one aptitude that, if mastered in the next 90 days, would make your QQS service 10x more valuable? The library of the mind, continuous acquisition. The source of this knowledge is not necessarily a college. The specialized knowledge you need can be acquired through your mastermind group. Borrow the knowledge of others. Formal education. only if it provides the most direct path to the required skill. Self-study, focused reading, and direct utilization not of generalities, but of the specific approaches required. Experience, on-the-job, purposeful practice. The moment your aim is defined, your mission becomes the rapid, continuous acquisition of the specialized knowledge required to deliver the QQS, quality, quantity, spirit, of service you promised. The person who stops learning is already declining. The blueprint in action, organized planning. A definite chief aim without a definite plan is merely a wish dressed in armor. The great distinction between the people who succeed and the people who fall short is the capacity to create and carry out organized plans. The person who starts later does not have time to waste on experimentation. You must replace indecision with a disciplined step-by-step approach. All plans are worthless unless they are put into immediate action. The first gauge of your burning desire is your willingness to create and follow a systematic plan, even when the path is not perfectly clear. The principle of nature is that the path is only illuminated as you travel it. The architecture of command. Form your initial plan, the 4 pillars. Your first non-negotiable step in organized planning is to establish a working plan, a framework that you will complete as you proceed. This plan must encompass 4 essential foundations. The service, the details of the QQS service you will deliver. The mastermind, the specific individuals whose specialized knowledge and collaboration you will require. The schedule, a fixed timeline for the execution of the most important daily and weekly tasks. The capital, a detailed list of the financial and intellectual resources required to start and the immediate steps to acquire them. Do not seek capital without a plan. Create the plan and the capital will follow. Lead with a committee, the mastermind in planning. The greatest error is attempting to plan in isolation. Never forget the power of the mastermind. The moment your initial plan is drafted, you must present it to your mastermind group. Submit it to them for review, not for confirmation, but for constructive critique. Your plan will be imperfect. Their combined experience will strengthen it. The combined intelligence of 2 minds collaborating in agreement is the basis of every major corporation. Immediate and persistent action. The execution. A plan that rests on a surface is only a concept. You must establish the pattern of moving instantly from the planning stage to the action stage. If the first plan is unsuccessful, replace it immediately with a new one. If the second is unsuccessful, replace it with a third. The greatest trait of a leader is not the flawlessness of the first plan, but the unwavering persistence in replacing an unsuccessful plan with a new one until the objective is attained. Temporary defeat is not failure. It is an indication that the plan was unsound. Never confuse the two. The unbreakable law, the habit of success. You have spent years acquiring the habits of a wanderer, the habit of indecision, the habit of withdrawal, the habit of delaying what should be completed now. The person who starts later must comprehend that to author a new script, you must first create a new set of habits to write it. This is the principle of the law of habit. All your thoughts, your actions, and your character are the accumulated result of repeated patterns. You do not ascend to the level of your hopes, you decline to the level of your training. The reason most New Year's resolutions fall short is that they attempt to create a radical shift in results without creating a fundamental shift in daily habits. Your new story cannot be written by a weak-willed protagonist who only acts when they feel inspired. It must be written by a disciplined machine that operates on a schedule. Building the engine of your success, the daily non-negotiable. The habit anchor identifies the single most crucial action that advances your definite chief aim. This is your habit anchor. It could be 30 minutes of specialized learning, making one high-impact sales communication, or writing 1,000 words of your plan. You must commit to doing this action every single day, without exception, for the next 60 days. Do not permit mood or circumstance to sever the connection. The value of this single act is not just the result it generates, but the mental fortitude it creates. Ritualize the beginning and end, the power of repetition. Your new life must commence and conclude with a routine that reinforces your new identity. Morning ritual. Immediately upon rising, recite your definite chief aim and your self-confidence formula. This is your mental configuration session. Evening ritual. Just before resting, review the day's actions and ensure your habit anchor was completed. Use this time to eliminate the concerns of the day and impress the desire for your aim onto your subconscious mind. This is the power of autosuggestion applied through habit. The mind must be provided the appropriate thoughts at the precise moment it is most receptive. The contagion of good habits. The domino effect. Focus on mastering one beneficial habit at a time. The mind, once trained in one area, finds it simpler to accept training in others. The habit of making quick decisions will support the habit of persistence. The habit of specialized learning will support the habit of organized planning. A single, small, successful habit is like a lever that can lift the entire weight of your self-discipline. Build the habit, and the habit will construct the person. The character rewrite, autosuggestion, and self-confidence. You are the protagonist of this unfavorable story because you have accepted a self-perception of failure. This self-perception, this idea that you are not capable, not deserving, or simply not the type of person who achieves success, is the internal constraint that keeps you confined even when the external doors of opportunity open. This limiting conviction did not form suddenly. It was constructed piece by piece through unfavorable self-communication, the uncertainties of others, and past difficulties defining your present expectations. To alter the plot, you must alter the character. And the greatest tool for rewriting your internal character is autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the means through which you willingly influence your own subconscious mind with creative and intentional thought. You cannot merely wish away self-doubt. You must plant a new, specific identity deeply into your subconscious, which is the seat of all emotionalized thought. When I first encountered the principle of autosuggestion, I saw its potential to correct not only mental shortcomings, but also physical ones. Consider the life of my own son, Blair Hill. He was born without outer hearing components and was informed by medical professionals that he would be unable to perceive sound or communicate verbally for life. The world was ready to write him a story of permanent limitation, but I refused to accept that script. I did not let my son focus on what he lacked. Instead, I employed the power of autosuggestion, daily and relentlessly, to instill the conviction that his condition was not a disadvantage but an asset, a tool to make him more resourceful and sensitive. I spoke to him about the world of sound in simple, positive terms. I used the self-confidence formula on his behalf. The boy matured to perceive sound and communicate verbally, demonstrating that the mind, when directed by conviction and autosuggestion, can correct even physical errors of nature. The same principle that assisted my son in perceiving sound can assist you in overcoming the years of self-doubt and feeling like an imposter you experience. The person you are is merely the total of the thoughts you have accepted and emotionalized. The person you will become is the result of the new thoughts you choose to plant and believe. Programming the commander, the self-confidence formula, your new identity. You must memorize and repeat the 5-point self-confidence formula daily. This formula is the concentrated essence of mental regulation. You must not merely read it, you must internalize it. Specifically, I command you to spend 30 minutes daily contemplating the person you intend to become. Close your eyes and in your mind visualize that person. See them succeeding. Hear them communicating with authority. Feel the certainty in their posture. Your present self-communication is the instruction set for your current level of failure. The self-confidence formula is the instruction set for your future command. You must not permit one day to pass without this mental exercise. The person who becomes a leader does not await confidence. They program it into their being. Emotionalize the script. The power of conviction, plain words do not influence the subconscious mind. Only words mixed with emotion and conviction can enter the inner chamber. Your desire must be heated until it becomes a burning fixation. When you read your definite chief aim and your self-confidence formula, you must inject feeling into the words. Act as if you are already the character you wish to be. Walk, speak, and think as if the accomplishment you aim for is not a possibility, but an established certainty. This is not deceit. This is the practical utilization of the law of conviction. Conviction is not a matter of spirituality. It is the state of mind that permits the subconscious to transform thought into its physical equivalent. If you do not believe it, your subconscious will not act on it. If you believe it with burning certainty, the subconscious must comply. The mirror technique, meeting your real self. This step requires bravery, but it is one of the most powerful tools for personal transformation. Stand before a mirror and tell the person you see that you demand accomplishment from them. Look yourself directly in the eye. Do not whisper. Communicate with authority, power, and certainty. Recite your definite chief aim to that person. Tell them your promise to them, the service you will deliver, and the recompense you will command. This technique helps you introduce yourself to your real self, the person capable of command, who is currently concealed beneath layers of self-doubt. It is a daily meeting between the person who is and the person who must be. Do this every morning as a declaration of your identity, and the narrative of your life will begin to change immediately, for all change commences within the mind. Casting the new story. The master mind. You cannot write a blockbuster life narrative with a cast of minor figures who are content with failure. The most harmful adversary of the person who starts later is their own surroundings. For years, you have been held back by what I call social heritage, the thoughts, convictions, and expectations of those closest to you. If your companions, your family, or your close associates are poverty aware, their influence will be ruinous to your accomplishment. They do not do this with ill intent. They do it because they fear your success will reveal their own failure. Their apprehension will drain your vitality, and their discussions will strain your mind. You are not merely spending time poorly. You are paying an emotional levy on every minute you spend in their company. You must accept this difficult truth. You must purify your surroundings and form a mastermind affiliation with people who support your new script. The mastermind principle is one of the most powerful and least understood principles of accomplishment. It is the synchronized effort and knowledge between two or more people in a spirit of complete harmony for the attainment of a definite purpose. The affiliation creates a third mind, a powerful, spiritual energy that is greater than the total of its individual parts. Observe the life of Henry Ford. He entered the world with the disadvantage of limited means and limited instruction. Did he conquer the world alone? No. He systematically surrounded himself with minds superior to his own Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, and Luther Burbank. Through this mastermind, he added their superior intelligence, specialized knowledge, and creative thought to his own definite chief aim. The result was an unstoppable force that established one of the greatest industrial empires the world ever observed. The person who attempts to ascend alone is engaged in a losing battle against the law of social heritage. You need the courage, the specialized knowledge, and the spiritual support of a mastermind group to maintain the conviction and the plan necessary for great achievement. If you are concerned about your age or the time you have spent poorly, the mastermind principle is your greatest tool, for it instantly allows you to borrow the wisdom, energy, and knowledge of others, increasing your pace beyond what you could achieve alone. The architecture of alliance. The environment audit. Seek command. You must conduct a severe and uncompromising review of your close associates. Ask yourself, does this person motivate me to increase my effort, or does their presence encourage me to accept mediocrity? Are they actively moving toward a definite chief aim, or are they wandering aimlessly? Are they prosperity aware or poverty aware? If they are poverty aware, their influence will be ruinous to your accomplishment. Their unfavorable communication, their skepticism, and their fear of taking risks will inevitably seep into your subconscious mind, undermining your autosuggestion and your decision. You must, with firm resolve, seek the companionship of those who command and receive prosperity, those who communicate in the language of purpose and command. You must alter your surroundings before your surroundings revert you back. Form the alliance. The meeting of minds. Your primary action step is to locate at least one person who is in complete agreement with your definite chief aim. This person should possess specialized knowledge or attributes you lack. It can be a partner, a companion, a mentor, or a business associate. Meet with this person or small group at least twice a week. The purpose of these meetings is strictly for organized planning and the mutual stimulation of concepts. You must analyze your progress, adjust your plan, and share the instructions learned from setbacks. Remember, the mastermind is not a social gathering. It is a creative center where two minds merge to generate an unstoppable force of thought and power. Strict harmony, the law of cooperation. The mastermind principle requires one non-negotiable condition: complete harmony among its members. Conflict, trivial disagreements, envy, or a lack of mutual respect will instantly obliterate the spiritual energy created by the affiliation. The collective mind will fragment into its separate parts, and its power will be lost. Just as Andrew Carnegie removed members of his group who could not collaborate or who introduced internal friction, you must be uncompromising in safeguarding the harmony of your group. The cost of a non-cooperative mind is far greater than the value of its contribution. The accomplishment of your new script relies entirely on the stability and collaboration of your mastermind. You are rewriting your life, and only those committed to your success and their own can be in the cast. The plot twist: converting setbacks into capital. The difficulty in your current story is not the conclusion of the script, it is the plot twist. If you feel you have fallen short, lost everything, or made irreversible errors, you are experiencing the necessary price of entry to a greater level of accomplishment. Every single setback, every reverse, every loss, every major disappointment carries with it the core of an equivalent benefit. This is a law of nature, and you must use tenacity to find that core and use it to fund your new life. The person who withdraws is the one who accepts the setback as permanent. The winner is the one who recognizes that defeat is merely temporary, an indication that the plan was flawed, not the purpose. It is paralysis caused by past errors that is the true termination of potential, not the errors themselves. Let me relate the story of Milo C. Jones. He was a successful man, but he was affected by a condition and could not move his body. To the world, this was a complete, tragic failure, a defeat of the physical form, but Jones refused to accept the finality of that defeat. The physical failure compelled him to utilize his mind and his imagination. From his resting position, he began to organize his resources, his family, and his mental power. He created Little Pig Sausage and amassed a staggering fortune. His physical defeat was the direct cause of his mental triumph. He demonstrated that no person is ever truly defeated until they surrender internally. Tenacity is not a hopeful wish. It is a pattern and a willpower that you must develop. It is the capacity to sustain action in the face of temporary defeat. It is the courage to stand firm after the initial decision has been made and the organization has commenced. Without tenacity, the first sign of opposition will send you retreating back to your comfort zone, back to your alternative strategy, and back to the life narrative you dislike. If you are a person who starts later, your past setbacks are your most valuable asset, for they have instructed you what not to do. You paid a high price for that specialized knowledge. Now it is time to use it to command your prosperity. The 3 acts of tenacity. The setback audit. Find the core. You must conduct a detailed assessment of your past. List your 3 biggest past setbacks: the project that collapsed, the loss of funds, the affiliation that ended, or the time you spent poorly. Next to each setback, write down the core of an equivalent benefit. This is the instruction, the specialized knowledge, the new skill, or the insight into human nature that you gain from the mistake. Did you learn the importance of having a written agreement? That is a benefit. Did you learn that a certain group of people cannot be relied upon? That is a benefit. Did you gain 2 years of experience in a new technique before it became common? That is a benefit. This exercise compels your mind to stop focusing on the discomfort and start focusing on the capital you acquired. Every successful person I studied, from Lincoln to Carnegie, learned more from their temporary defeats than from their immediate successes. You are not too late. You are merely better informed because you have paid the cost of setbacks. The tenacity pattern. Act without order. Tenacity is not a random act of will. It is a developed pattern. And like all patterns, it is formed through rhythmic, definite repetition. Develop the tenacity pattern by doing one definite thing each day that ought to be done without anyone telling you to do it. This is an exercise in self-command. It might be difficult communication, an unpleasant discussion, a long period of focused work, or the writing of a detailed plan. Do it because it is necessary for your aim. Do it without hesitation, without postponement, and without external motivation. When you instruct yourself to act on necessity rather than mood, you begin to construct the iron will of the persistent person. This daily, deliberate act of self-command will accumulate until the habit of tenacity becomes automatic. The withdrawal creed. The oath. To fortify your mind against the unavoidable temptation to withdraw, you must adopt a daily affirmation. Write out and memorize this simple truth. Communicate it aloud every time you feel opposition, self-doubt, or the desire to retreat. A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. This is not poetry. It is a practical mental defense. It is a command to the subconscious mind that, regardless of the temporary nature of the current defeat, the campaign is still active. The moment you define yourself as a winner, the one who never withdraws, you have planted the core for a mental victory that the external world must eventually confirm. Movement and ownership. The time you have spent in indecision, in wandering, in detrimental affiliations, or in work that served no purpose, is complete. We have removed the retreat options, defined the new script of your definite chief aim, created a new character through autosuggestion, cast the story with a powerful master mind, and armed you with the shield of tenacity. Now, you must act. The final element of your new story is the understanding that success is not a recompense for waiting. It is the unavoidable consequence of movement. I have observed that the single most frequent cause of failure in individuals who are otherwise intelligent and capable is the lack of a definite decision to do something and the immediate follow-through of that decision. They await perfect clarity. They await for apprehension to dissipate. They await for someone else to show them the path. But I tell you, waiting is not neutral. Waiting is a movement backward. Every day you postpone, another person acts, another person builds, another person claims the ground you relinquished. And when your years have passed and your vitality is gone, you will find yourself in service to him not because he was superior, but because he moved. This is the principle. The one who waits serves the person who acts. You cannot afford to delay the building of your personal fortune until your 60s. You must not wait until your life is nearly over to begin living it with purpose. That is a sentence, not a plan. The person who truly commands their life builds systems that work for them now, not just 30 years from now. The person who refuses to serve the fear of limited means, the fear of critique, or the fear of failure eventually becomes the one who commands their life and their fortune. You can pass away as a laborer or rise as a leader. The distinction is not prosperity. It is thought, discipline, and decision. You were not born to merely work. You were born to build. You were not born to be instructed. You were born to direct. And if you are still inhaling, still perceiving these words, it means it is not too late. You must stop analyzing your past and start commanding your future. Your triple command for mastery. Write your definite chief aim. If you have listened to this, but have not yet written the statement of your aim, stop and write it now. Do not wait for the perfect hour or the perfect paper. Define who you are. what you demand from life, and what you will give in return. Make it clear, bold, and written. This is the first action of a commander. Build daily command through autosuggestion. Do not rely on inspiration. Rely on repetition and rhythm. Every morning, read your aim aloud. Every evening, communicate your conviction in your prosperity, your power, and your new identity. You must shape your subconscious mind into the person who commands by daily shaping your words and your thoughts. The constraints are in your habits, and the solution is in your mind. This daily command is the solution. Build ownership, not just wages. A person who relies on one stream of hourly labor is still serving. Use your vocation as a tool, as the funding for your autonomy, not the replacement of it. But do not stop at labor. You must build systems. You must create value that multiplies without your hourly time. Use your mind, not just your physical capacity, to establish true ownership. And if you ever question that this path works, let me remind you, I followed it. I was the child of a poor miner in the hills of Virginia. I had no inheritance, no connections, and no safeguard. But I had a voice, I had a mind, and I made a decision that I would no longer serve the fear of limited means. I would no longer serve ignorance. I would no longer serve the constraints passed away by weak individuals. I studied the minds of the prosperous, not the surface of their wealth, but the spiritual origins of their accomplishment. I studied Carnegie, Ford, Rockefeller, and Edison, and I discovered that every one of them obeyed principles that most people never learn. They mastered themselves, they decided, they acted, they repeated, and they became impossible to disregard. And by mastering thought, I became more than what the world anticipated of me. I advised millionaires, built a legacy, and passed down a system not of suggestions, but of transformation. And so can you. Your late start is not a final sentence. It is a powerful catalyst. You now possess the regret and the urgency that the young person lacks. Use it. Use the discomfort of your past to fuel the definite aim of your future. Refuse to exist as if you are powerless. Refuse to awaken with no aim. Refuse to exchange your time for inadequate compensation. Refuse to think small, move slowly, or act weakly. Refuse to conclude your time without building something the world cannot erase. You are here to command. Let the resounding truth of these final affirmations be etched into the very core of your being, serving as your sacred and unbreakable oath. I absolutely will not be a slave to any man, any job, or any circumstance. The divine spark of creation within me confirms that I was born with the inherent capacity to command wealth, abundance, and influence, not merely to toil in a relentless, unforgiving cycle of labor until my final breath. This profound understanding of my self-worth means that my speed, my decisiveness, and my immediate action are the definitive forces that carve out my freedom. I declare before the universe that every moment of my existence from this point forward will be dedicated to the acquisition of my definite chief aim, and I will treat every distraction as a direct threat to my sovereignty. My commitment is total. Now, the time for mere contemplation is over. This moment demands a public declaration of your new existence. I ask you to make this final, powerful move. Go to the comment section below. This is the digital proving ground for your new reality, a ledger of your ultimate resolve. Acknowledge your present. Tell us your age, not as a measure of time spent poorly, but as the accumulated wisdom you now bring to this decisive moment. Declare your new destiny. State the irrevocable decision you are making today. What is the single most important commitment you are locking in right now that shifts your world on its axis? The most crucial step. Name your definite chief aim. By explicitly writing it down in the public arena, you are performing the final, symbolic, and utterly necessary act of removing your retreat options. There is no retreat. You are committing to a new script, a new trajectory, where this aim is your sole compass and ultimate destination. This act seals your fate as a commander, not a spectator. We know that there are countless others who walk in the shadow of regret. If you know of a man or woman whose brilliant potential is currently eclipsed by the agonizing pain of a late start, who feels they have spent too much time poorly and are paralyzed by indecision, share this video with them now. You may provide them with the one spark of truth that changes their entire story. Walk, speak, build, and live not as the person the world tried to make of you, but as the commander you were always meant to become. You are not too late. Start now. This channel walks with you.